The bombing of Rome in World War II took place on several occasions in 1943 and 1944, primarily by Allied and to a smaller degree by Axis aircraft. Before the city was invaded by the Allies on June 4, 1944, Pope Pius XII was initially unsuccessful in attempting to have Rome declared an open city. Through negotiations with President Roosevelt via Cardinal Francis Spellman, Rome was eventually declared an open city on August 14, 1943 by the defending forces. The bombings of the Eternal City was for several reasons controversial, especially for the Americans. Rome had been the capital city of Italy for around 70 years, but large parts of the city were older than 2,500 years old. It is the capital of Catholicism, and within its city limits was the neutral Vatican City. The Vatican also owned many churches and other buildings outside its territory, but in the city, many Americans were against a major destruction of Rome. However, the British War Cabinet refused to see bombing Rome as a crime against human history. The first bombardment occurred on 19 July 1943 and was carried out by 500 American bombers which dropped 1060 metric ton of bombs. The entire working-class San Lorenzo district was destroyed, and 4,500 Italian civilians were killed. The military targets were few. The large station termini contained a marshalling yard and railways and industries that manufactured steel, textile products and glass. Winston Churchill approved the bombardment by the words, "I agree," WSC 16.7.43, in the 110,000 sorties that comprised the Allied Rome air campaign. 600 aircraft were lost and 3,600 aircrew members died. 60,000 tons of bombs were dropped in the 78 days before Rome was captured. Correspondences between Pius XII and Roosevelt. Following the first Allied bombing of Rome on May 16, 1943, Pius XII wrote Roosevelt asking that Rome be spared as far as possible further pain and devastation, and the many treasured shrines from irreparable ruin. On June 16, 1943, Roosevelt replied, "Bombing of Rome was controversial," and General Henry H. Arnold described Vatican City as a hot potato because of the importance of Catholics in the U.S. armed forces. British public opinion, however, was more aligned towards the bombing of the city, due to the participation of Italian planes in the Blitz over London. H.G. Wells was a particularly vocal proponent of doing so. Notable raids. July 19, 1943. On July 19, 1943, Rome was bombed again, more heavily, by 521 Allied planes, with 3 targets, causing thousands of civilian casualties. After the raid, Pius XII, along with Monsignor Montini, traveled to the Basilica di San Lorenzo Fuori le Mura, which had been badly damaged, and distributed 2 million liras to the crowds. Between 11 a.m. and 12 noon, 150 Allied B-17 flying fortresses attacked the San Lorenzo freight yard and steel factory. In the afternoon, the second target was the Scalo del Littorio, on the northern side of Rome. The third target was the Ciampino Airport, on southeast side of Rome. August 13, 1943. 3 weeks later, on August 13, 1943, Allied planes again bombed the city, targeting San Lorenzo and Scalo del Littorio. Bombing of Vatican City. Vatican City maintained an official policy of neutrality during the war. Both Allied and Axis bombers made some effort not to attack the Vatican when bombing Rome. However, Vatican City was bombed on at least 2 occasions, once by the British and once by the Germans. November 5, 1943. On November 5, 1943, a single plane dropped 4 bombs on the Vatican, destroying a mosaic studio near the Vatican railway station and breaking the windows of the high cupola of St. Peter's, and nearly destroying Vatican radio. There were no fatalities. Damage from the raid is still visible. March 1, 1944. On March 1, 1944, German airplanes dropped 6 bombs over the Vatican, littering the court of St. Damaso with debris.